I want to start with this story here about the building collapse in Iowa. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard about this, of a building collapsing in the United States recently. It was just a couple months ago. There was a building that collapsed in Florida, and now we have this issue happening in Iowa. This is not a problem that is, linked just to one state or city in particular. Our infrastructure in this country is failing, and people need to talk about it more. Let's go ahead and get into this clip here.
Apartment collapse in Iowa. Officials say there are no reported deaths. One person is recovering after being rescued when part of that 6-story building came crashing down yesterday. 7 others were also rescued soon after the building came down. Alex Perez is in Davenport, Iowa, with the latest.
Building's partially collapsing.
Urgent search and rescue efforts underway after a 6-story apartment building with as many as 80 units partially collapsed in Davenport, Iowa.
Could you imagine residing you're just chilling in your apartment, and then all of a sudden half of the building just collapses?
See, we had a tragic event today.
Officials saying there are a number of people unaccounted for, but have not said how many.
The building just collapsed.
The rear part of the downtown apartment tower, which was undergoing repairs after complaints from residents, suddenly caving in.
I'm hoping and praying that the screams that I heard when the building came down was not people inside of it.
Officials say the first calls for help came shortly before 5 p.m.
Our crews arrived on scene and found a 6-story apartment complex with a portion of the rear building had actually collapsed. Crews also found a large natural gas leak and water leaking from all floors of the structure.
Fire crews rescuing people from the area of the initial collapse and escorting more than a dozen more from the remaining building.
I'm hoping they bring my dog out. She's all I got.
Officials say the cause of the collapse is under investigation, but questions are mounting after reports of bricks falling from the building during repairs earlier this week.
And Alex Perez joins me now from Davenport, Iowa, for more on this. Alex, Davenport officials held a press briefing this morning. What's the latest?
Yeah, Alexis, we got that update from authorities just a short time ago, and there are 2 big headlines from that update. The first one being that authorities say they have no deaths to report at this time. And the second one being that right now they have no credible reports of people missing. Of course, those are 2 very important updates here, Alexis. No short of a miracle if you look at that debris and that damage behind me here after the collapse, that no one was killed, it appears, at this point here, Alexis. But authorities say this is going to go very soon from a search and rescue effort to a search and recovery effort. They still believe this structure behind me here is very dangerous and unstable, Alexa.
Now, notice he said this is going to go to a search and recovery effort. This is important because when you hear from the tenants and the other residents that live in this neighborhood, they're going to tell a different story than what you're hearing this reporter say on CNN. It appears that the residents have been complaining about the structure of the building for quite some time, not just issues that they've had inside their apartments, but the physical structure of the building. Now, this goes back to a time when it was actually just last year when I interviewed residents at Grant Manor who have been doing the same thing here in Boston. They've been complaining about the structure of the building, issues with the roof, issues with the walls, issues with the flooring, holes in the building, and their concerns are just brushed away. It's just like, you're poor. This is what the city has to offer you. You take it or you leave it. And a big part of the issue is, especially with these particular communities, they're not really trying to fix these buildings and improve them to the way that they should be, because what they really want to do is they want the people to just leave, and then they'll sell that building to an investor, and then the investor will fix up the building, and next thing you know, you have another luxury apartment building which all the rich people can play in. This is an ongoing issue that's been happening across this country. People who are living in poverty, that are living in these buildings that are falling apart, that are not structurally sound, and the landlords and the companies that own these buildings don't want to put in the money to give it the proper repairs it needs. Oftentimes they'll do they'll cover up the holes, so to speak, right? You say there's a hole in the ceiling, they'll put something up there to block the hole instead of fixing the actual ceiling. They do shortcuts in reference to maintenance because they don't want to invest in the building for those people. They don't want to invest in poor people. They don't want to invest in working class people. They only want to invest in people that have money. This would not happen in a rich neighborhood. That's what people have to understand. Let's go on and then we'll go to another clip.
Nothing short of a miracle indeed. Alex Perez in Davenport, Iowa, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George.
So that was CNN's version of events in reference to what happened. Now, there were rescue attempts. I do want to share this.
Download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Sorry about that. Shout out to Sarah. She said more photos and video of the rescue of Lisa Brooks from the partially collapsed building here in downtown Davenport. It has been more than a day since a part of the building collapsed and officials had abandoned rescue efforts this morning. Abandoned. Now, isn't that different from what you just heard from the reporter on CNN? This is why it's great to hear these real accounts from people who are actually there on the ground. So you can see a photo here of the fire department trying to get this individual out. This is so scary. We're going to go to a video. Let's go back here.
Thank God! Praise the Lord! Thank you, Lord.
So they were able to get that individual out, but it's really troubling to hear them say that they had actually abandoned search and rescue efforts. And then there's another picture there. Now, I want to show you what Gretchen has posted. She said, happening now, protesters have set up in front of Davenport City Hall demanding answers. This is a powerful speech I want you to hear from one of the residents.
They complained about this. And then I know my younger generation doesn't care about voting, right? We don't care. But this should make us care about our community. They get paid to sit in those seats. And people just lost everything. We pay people to lose everything. If this happened, y'all want people to do the same thing we're doing right now. So, get these people out of their offices. Absolutely. They sit behind their desks. Absolutely. Typing, wearing, just sitting. Get out here and do their jobs. And stop spreading rumors.
If there was their people in there.
Now let's start this over because I want to show you what one of the signs says here. Again, just debunking what that reporter said on CNN. So this is a resident.
They complained about this.
Look at this sign here. This woman has a sign that says, find them first. Here's another sign that says, who was in the rubble? So this goes to show you that they really weren't trying to do search and rescue efforts in the way that CNN said they were trying to do. Why else would the residents, why are they standing outside protesting right now saying, are you looking for the people? Are you sure that everyone has been accounted for? And this isn't uncommon. Again, in these types of neighborhoods, in poor neighborhoods, in working class neighborhoods, do they really do their all to make sure that everyone is accounted for when an event like this happens? Now, this resident is complaining about the city officials. Where are they? Where are the city councilors? Where's the mayor? Where are all the elected officials that people vote for? Why haven't they come out? Why aren't they there with the protesters, right? So she's explaining to you, yes, I understand that people from my generation, most of us for the most time, we don't vote. She's like, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't care about what's happening in your neighborhood. And this goes back to something we say at RBN over and over again. You have to organize within your community. When it comes to what's happening in your community, you should be very well aware and you should be involved. And all of those city councilors and local political officials that hold those positions, if they are not present, then you should go to them and make sure that they are present. So that's why she said, go get them out of their seats. These people are comfortable. They only need you when they need a vote. The only time they want to come into your community is when they need you to vote. And then they disappear for the next couple of years and you don't see them again until they need you to vote for their reelection. This is a very common tale for people that live in these communities. These people are abandoned, and the political officials, they're not even around. So what she's telling you is, like, when it comes to the political spectrum, even if you do not care about electoral politics on the national level, you need to care about what's happening with these political officials in your community that they are so invested in, as they claim.
And then I know my younger generation doesn't care about voting, right? We don't care. But this should make us care about our community.
Yep. That right there should make you care about your community. Let me tell you, you mean to tell me this building just collapsed out of nowhere? There were multiple residents who have been complaining about the structure of the building. Where were the local officials to put the pressure on the landlord and the property management company to get those things fixed? They were absent. You know why they were absent? Because it's not uncommon for some of these political officials to be in bed with other housing developers, real estate developers, other investors. A lot of times they're connected, and that's how they win some of these races, to be honest with you. So they turn their cheek and they turn their back on poor people, because again, to them, you are only important when they need your vote.
Paid to sit in those seats, and people just lost everything. We pay for people to lose everything. It just had to go. Y'all want for people to do the same thing we're doing right now. So, get these people out of their offices. Absolutely. They sit behind their desks. Absolutely. Typing, wearing, just sitting. Get out here and do their jobs. And stop spreading rumors.
If there was their people in there, they'd be out here.
That's right. That's right. Get them out of their desks. Enough is enough. You are their constituent. Now, here's another video here from Gretchen, and they're calling the city officials out by name. Where is Ryan and where is Brandon? Ryan and Brandon, where are you?
Where's Brandon? Where's Ryan? Where are they? Where's Ryan? Where's Brandon? 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 Where's Ryan?
Ryan and Brandon, where are you? Where are you? Now, I want to show you the report card from the American Civil Engineers. Now, American Society of Civil Engineers, I've talked about them on the show before. We're going to do a quick rundown about the report card that they gave to the United States infrastructure. And then I'm going to show you the report card for Iowa's infrastructure. The American Society of Civil Engineers, if you don't follow this website, you should. We are not where we should be as a country in reference to infrastructure. They gave the U.S. for the 2021 report card, they gave us a grade of a C minus. A C minus. And what you can do when you come to their website, if you scroll down to explore categories, all you have to do is hover over each category to see the grade that they gave us for each category. If I hover over bridges, they gave us a C. Aviation, we got a D plus. Dams, D. This one's a big kicker. The drinking water is a C minus. In the United States of America, our drinking water is a C minus. Energy is a C minus. Hazardous waste was a D plus. And I'm curious to see what hazardous waste would be now after East Palestine, Ohio. So you can just click on different categories to see. Public parks gets a D plus. The rail gets a B. I'm pretty sure that'll change after East Palestine, Ohio. The roads have a D. Schools, D plus. Solid waste, C plus. This is terrible. This is not a good score. And if we want to look at this, the report card for Iowa, you can actually search for your state if you're curious to see what your score is for your state. For Iowa, they gave Iowa a C. So, similar situation. If you hover over the categories for Iowa, you can see the grades. Look, bridges, they gave a D plus for the bridges. A D for the dams, a C for the drinking water, C plus for energy, D plus for inland waterways, C for levees, C for public parks, a C plus for rail, B minus for roads, B minus for solid waste, stormwater, D plus. This is like in this country, as much money that we have in this country, this is terrible. This is terrible. So one of the things that they recommended, they gave a list of recommendations for what needs to be done to fix the infrastructure and to maintain the infrastructure in this country. When people want to give Biden kudos for passing that infrastructure bill, I went over this a couple months as well. The amount that they approved in the infrastructure bill, that didn't come anywhere close to near what was recommended by the American Society of Civil Engineers. Why aren't these people brought into Congress? Why aren't these individuals sitting at the table with our congressmen and congresswomen? And why don't they have a say-so in how much should be spent towards infrastructure? I mean, what would they know? They're just civil engineers. Eric, can you put the link to this site in the chat so people can look at this on their own? Because what they do have also, like, you can search for your state. Let me go back. I'm scared to look at my state. I really am. You can go find your state. Actually, we just click on it. I'm curious. Massachusetts. What did they give us? Where's our grade? I can't see it. They didn't give us a grade. Oh boy. I don't know why they didn't give us a grade. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. But that's how you can check that either way. Anyway, it's obvious here that Iowa needs some work in reference to the infrastructure. But let me make something very clear to you. Democrats right now, they're not thinking about Iowa. They only think about Iowa when they're trying to win. When Iowa was the first primary state, oh, they love to think about Iowa. How are things going for you here in Iowa? How can your life be improved? But Iowa's not the first primary state anymore. So you think they care about this? Where's the president? That building that just collapsed, where's Joe Biden? He won't even go visit people in East Palestine, Ohio. Still, till this day. When we talk about holding representatives and politicians accountable, that in part means not continuing to vote for these people when they're not doing anything. Terrible, terrible mess. I'm gonna go to some of the comments here. Just pirate, just like East Palestine, Ohio, they just don't care. Future is one step away from Soylent Green. And Dwayne says, we got money for cops, not infrastructure. Exactly. Like, this is terrible. If you live in an apartment, how do you feel right now? How do you feel? How many of you live in an apartment building that's falling apart and you know it's falling apart and you've complained to the landlords about it? Thank you for the super chat, Cool Blue. Iowa, like Ohio, Florida realigned to Republicans, especially for POTUS. Well said. Thank you so much for that, Cool Blue. It's a hot mess. I'll keep following that story to see where things go from there. But like I said, they don't care about poor people, regardless of the party.